Hello, it me making an AD&D video. Wow, that's pretty whack, ain't it? But in my last video, I told you my next publish would be a AD&D video to continue the series. It's not much of a series so far. It's kind of just character creation, but that's what it's called. It's called Learning AD&D Alone, but kind of together. So, anyway. This is session 0.3. We are making the third character. So far, we have made a Mr. I can't even say my own character's name, and I've had this character since I started playing D&D. His name is Torque Holderheck, and he's a Sunder Dwarf, lawful good, axe for hire fighter. Pretty standard stuff. I'm pretty sure he's pretty complete. We need to do some little, personalization things, but I think I'll have a dedicated off-camera day once we kind of figure out what our party's going to be to do all of that. And well, maybe it won't be off camera, but as we're fleshing out these characters, we'll kind of put some of this in and figure out how the PHB wants us to do that. We have Martin Keenmind, who is a Smurf Nevlin, chaotic good rock tender cleric thief multi-class. I kind of realized that I have no idea how the spells work. I forgot. I'm pretty sure I said in the last video or something, the 0.2, that I would just figure it out when I needed to, which is probably honestly, it's probably good just so I don't get overwhelmed. But I thought about it when I was thinking about making this third character and reading some of this other stuff, because as you remember, we're going to do Haunted Halls of Everstar, or Evening Star, yeah. And we were going to start with Dungeon Magazine 18, Iron Guard. And so it reads that we need to start with 4 to 6 characters, 1 to 3rd level. It's, reading this a little bit again, it's, about 10 PC levels total. 0 PC levels may be used. A wizard is essential. Well-balanced parties recommended. When isn't it? When it has to say that, that's scary. If most PCs are weak, or if one of the 4 basic classes is not represented, increase the party by 1 or 2 NPCs, perhaps hirelings. So I originally said in the first video that I would just try and split this down the middle and go with 5. I think we're probably going to need 6 at the very least, and we might have to cut some corners, and maybe I don't know what I'm going to do, but we're going to see how well we roll, and then if we have 6 characters that we're confident with, we're going to, I guess, just do it says about 10 character PC levels, so we would have to level, 4 of them up once, or, 4 extra levels in order to do that. So I don't really know how we're going to do that at this time, but for now, let's just focus, with the spells, let's focus on one thing at a time, because we are learning D&D alone together. And, this is what we're going to try and focus on right now. Last time, I really wanted a druid, because druid is my favorite class in kind of the editions that I grew up with, like 4 and 5e. And the thing about AD&D that is not like those editions is you need minimum requirements actually matter for things other than multi-classing and the occasional martial weapon. And so if we take a look at the mage here, just to be a mage at all, you need an intelligence of 9, which, and we need a human elf or half elf, because again, we're learning, and so we're taking one thing at a time, and so we're going to just do the races in the PHB and the first, 12 or 14 books it was, to kind of have the sets. But regardless, we're going to try and make one of these today and pray. I mean, we're going to roll first, but if we get an intelligence above 9, we're going to try and make a mage. If you look even further at these specialist wizards, that is some scary shit. That is very scary for 3d6, you know? Like, how you can't, how do you not, hello? I need an 18 on intelligence that I can only roll once. I can only roll 3d6, so I can't even roll 4d6, and I need it to be on a specific thing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. That is whack, you know? So we're going to try. We might end up with just like a good old mage, but I would love to have a specialist wizard because these guys are so much cooler in everything that they can use, and it would really allow us to, well, it would kind of force us to get into the spellcasterings. But regardless, I've done enough yammering, so I'm going to roll some stats, and then you're going to see those stats, and then we will continue. Well, it looks like we rolled okay for some stats, but definitely not enough for a wizard. As you can see, we are a little bit stoop. We are even more frail. In fact, the minimum amount of frail that we legally can be. Everything else is kind of to be expected, except for dexterity. Oh boy, oh man, oh god, oh darn. We got good dexterity. Definitely enough to be a full-blown rogue, sneaky man dude guy. And we can do all races allowed, so what race should we be? We should pick a cool one that we might not be able to pick for other guys. We already have a dwarf, we already have a halfling, or a gnome rather, so maybe we should do, well, I mean, I guess both of the ones that we don't have so far, elf and halfling, both give dexterity. But I don't think we need a 2 to Constitution. I don't think we need to make that any worse, so let's take the hit to Strength and be a halfling. Shall we? I think that sounds good. So it appears to me that there are 3 main... by the way, we're back in the Gnomes and Halfling TSR something version, you know, whatever. TSR 9, there you go. PHBR 9. Anyway, there are 3 main types of halfling, apparently in the Forgotten Realms, at least, which is where we're going to be of course. And so there's Harefoot, which, kind of quick synopsis, is like gets along best with humans. They get like a little bit of human help, see, and are most acclimated and most common to like human and regular kind of humanoid society. Stouts are more like dwarves. Might want to pick a stout because we can kind of cheat our constitution score up higher, where all of these other things aren't going to take as big a hit. And so I think I might have to do the math, but I think we'll gain the most stats with this so that we're not as frail, because we're not going to need the rest of these in theory for, you know, being a rogue. And the third one is Tall Fellow, which is more like elf-like, you know? So, you know, we get an elf thing, we get like elf illusion shit and wooded tile help. And again, well, I guess the Constitution is a little better here, but I don't know. Something about the stout just seems like more like me. I don't know, I just like the... It's just the dwarf in me, I guess. You know, it's the dwarf. You know, we already have Torque, we already have the Smurf Neblin, so I feel like the stout kind of goes with the theme that we already have of like being an underground party. And so I think I'm going to go with the stout, and so let's just make that official here. Stout. As far as gender, let's go back to male. We'll go we made a male first, we made a female second, so let's make another male. Alignment, we'll figure that out, and then I'm gonna roll and figure out the kits. And so basically, just a quick little sidebar, this is an interesting little cultural thing as far as like halfling culture, as far as, you know, Ed Greenwood is concerned and Gary Gygax are concerned. It's just a hobbit, you know. But I thought that this little snippet was interesting to like kind of explain why most halflings don't go on adventures, but then, you know, some do. But other than that, general reference for halflings, hobbit. So we got some decent stats. I mean, much like their, you know, like Torque, if we take a look at Torque really quick, you know, Torque is kind of just an all-around, like, for lack of a better term, basic bitch, with just average stats that are mostly reliant on, you know, his race. And I think Stout Halfling, you know, we gained, what, 7 points here? We lost 1 here. And then we lost 2 here. And so we lost 3 but gained 7, so net 4, based off choosing Stout, which, you know, I'm not going to do the math as far as the elf thing, but it might be cool to have an elf and just have like an odd one out or an outlier later on, especially if like we roll well for a wizard. It might be cool to have an elf that, you know, is an illusion wizard, or I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. But for the time being, we have a thief at 1, and I'll fix this in a second. And I don't think we're going to multi-class just because, or whatever class that we did here, just because I think we're good enough with this that we probably want to just spec into this instead of, we might even want to change Martin now. Martin is in the Waterdeep Dragon heist that I'm also running. But Martin might not need to be a thief anymore. But I don't know. We'll see how it runs. You know, we'll see how much XP we gain as we go. And I spelled that wrong. And we'll kind of just go from there. I mean, look at that. See, like, even just that, you know, we need less XP. And so, in theory, being just a thief and just being really good at thievery and speccing into that will be the best for us. So let me think about what we have to do next. And we'll probably think about alignment and kit. Yeah. So let's look at the thief kits real quick. Obviously, we have bandit, and some of these halfling thief kits are actually pretty cool, except for the fact that they have requirements and stats. And as we have otherwise noticed, we are lacking in the stats department, except for our dexterity. And the only one, as much as I'd love to go into detail on all of these cool, like, charismatic kind of swindler halflings, that it talks about how they have like sympathy and only pick on those that deserve it, and kind of have like a Robin Hood-esque kind of thing. The only one that we actually meet the requirements of is burglar, so we can literally be a burglar hobbit. We have dex of 17, which is definitely more than 15, and so we are going to, it says, a benign specialist at retrieving objects of value from those who have come by them wrongly. So we're kind of like almost like a harper, you know, like a ratchet harper, you know, an independent harper. Maybe we could, if we get high enough level, we could join the harpers, but I don't think at this point. But yeah, we can start to spec into this burglaring and burglary. As much as I'd love to be a smuggler, because I love running smugglers, this is like the true Robin Hood build. This is kind of more like a kind, I don't know. This is more like, I feel like our intelligence is too low for this, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like this is so objective. Like, oh, it's come by them wrongly, aka like, I think I deserve it more than them with this intelligence. I mean, it says right here, low intelligence, you know, it's just, so we'll have to figure out how to roleplay that. But I'm excited for that, because I think it's going to be interesting to have like a true, you know, it's not called a rogue yet, it's called a thief, but as we think of in the 5th edition definition, like the rogue trope, where it's like you constantly are pickpocketing the party. And, you know, I think for alignment, the best alignment for such a halfling would be chaotic neutral, where it's like, Yeah, I mean, we don't do good, we don't do bad, we kind of skirt the law, but ultimately, whoever comes by things wrongly, quote unquote, wrongly, you know, they are our victim, you know? So I think that that's what we're going to do, and I will just kind of time-lapse fill out the rest of this based off of all of this that it says, and I'll give you a quick recap at the end. Off to future Michael. So for the rest of the video, I kind of just muddle around, equipping and doing proficiencies and remembering how to do as much, but I won't bore you because you can always go back to the old video to look at that. Basically, I followed what it said in the kit, remembered the difference between secondary skills and, you know, bonus proficiencies and all of that extra, all that jazz, and also learned the difference between, like, thieves' skills, like the move silently and pick lock and things, which are inherent in the PHB with the thief, which I'm sure we'll get to in a later video when we start to do actual roleplay instead of character creation. But yeah, I kind of just was thinking about this character and what it's gonna be. I'll have to come up with a name, but I think we'll wait until the next video for that, to actually finally name the third character, which actually was surprisingly easy to create. I mean, this video obviously is a little bit shorter. I would take that to either mean one of two things, probably a little bit of both. Either A, I'm getting a little bit better at this and starting to be familiar with the tools and the system a little bit, or B, Thief is just a really easy class to just make, and there wasn't a lot of complication to it. Obviously, I'm sure that there's a lot of additional rules that I'm going to have to read up on. I mean, I completely forgot. You'll see me here in a second. I totally realized that there's a whole Thief's Handbook. And so I'm going to have to read it, like the additional rules for that. But again, we will save that for like role play, if that makes sense. But basically, expect more of this. We'll hopefully be rolling a wizard soon. Pray to gods, you know, pray to Lathander the Joyful, or, you know, whatever else you want to pray to. I always choose Lathander because, partly because of dice camera action and Evelyn, the classic Chris Perkins campaign. But also, I think it's just funny to have a god that's all about joy. And anyway, what was I saying? Expect more of this. I will try and make a fourth character soon, now that I'm kind of, hopefully, I keep saying back in the swing of things, but, you know, well, I still got school, I still got work, still got other commitments, and today, or this week, is a concert week, so that's always fun. But anyway, equipping the character was basically simple. I rolled 100 gold. I had didn't have to do armor, had minimal weapons, just followed what the kit said. Really kind of copied exactly the other kind of storage units that my other characters had, and that was that. And so yeah, I think that we have a pretty good rogue here. I keep saying rogue, it's thief in this edition. I'm just so conditioned into the 5th edition mindset. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this character, and I think I like this kind of subterranean, if you will, mindset that we got going for the party so far. We got a dwarf, we got a Smurf Neblin, and now we have a stout halfling. So it'll be cool. I think this campaign honestly has a lot of potential so far. I'm getting more and more excited every character that I make. Anyway, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please tell me if you do. And pray to God that the audio remains fixed. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.